Hey y'all, welcome back to the Hack Shack. Today we've got a fun one for you. Broke out the Apple IIC again. Like before, you may have seen some photos. I don't think I ever made a video, but I've used a Floppy EMU when I first got that. And I don't have a lot of Apple II experience. There may be some hardcore hints and things that you may see me miss here that I'm just not very familiar with. All I've really done so far with my Apple IIC is done some stuff with the ADT Pro, transferring back and forth for floppy images, as well as using the Floppy EMU to play a retro replay, which is, I think what a lot of people end up doing. At the recent VCF Midwest, I was up there with Retro Combs. He bought an Apple IIc from the fellas that were over there at the Mac Effects table, and I was telling him, hey, you need to make sure you get a certain ROM or whatever to be able to use the Floppy EMU. But I'd also been talking to some folks, and I couldn't remember at the time, but after that I remembered, and we both ended up ordering these SP2SD kits here from Koba in Japan, from Kero's Mac Mods. Sorry if I'm getting any of this name stuff wrong here. And I think there are a lot of other folks that pieces kind of came together and permissions and okay was given for this kit to be produced. I'm going to put the close-up of the PCB up as I'm saying this right now, because I don't want to be missing anyone who may be involved in a big way in making this possible, but that's who I got the kit from, and I think he's maybe brought the pieces together. And I think they're going to be bringing out some other ones that might not be in a kit form, but might be even smaller than this, which is going to be kind of cool to see. So I just heard or just saw a little bit about that today. I'm not sure if that's public info or not. If it is, I'll put a picture up here. If it's not, I won't. But anyway, this was a fun kit to put together. It had a couple of challenging parts, but let's get right into it and I'll let you see what I did. Okay, here we go. I've got this fun box in here, and this should have been covered by the intro I just did. Let's see what we have inside here. All right, let's see here. Oh wow, look at this. Got my name on here. Ooh, check out his wax seal. Oh, that is cool. Very cool. Let's see what's in here. I hate to open it, it's still so pretty. Oh, cool sticker. That's awesome. I think the rest of this is just like an invoice thing here. Cool thank you note. That's a nice touch. Very cool. Thank you. Thank you very much. So let's see what we have in here. We'll move this box out of the way. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. All right, so SP2SD. So what I've used to date on my Apple IIc for playing, hard drive images, and I'm sure you could do other things, but that's all I've done with it. Basically, it's used it for retro replay on Apple IIc, was this Floppy EMU, which is a great device, and it can do all kinds of things. But I was thinking for the 2C, like just for having a simple setup to take with me for, displaying or showing things off, or just setting it up somewhere easily with retro replay, this looked pretty cool, and we'll see here in a minute why that might be pretty neat. All right, let's see what we got here. We got some instructions. So the Arduino's pre-programmed. Okay, it's got instructions there on GitHub. Scan that if you want to see those right away. Let's check it out here. Now, here's the big thing about these guys, right? This ROM 4X. If you've got an Apple IIc, these kinds of solutions like this or the Floppy EMU will not work if you do not have the right ROM version. And I've already updated my ROM because I've used the Floppy EMU in my 2C. I'll put up the command here as I'm blabbing, and you can type this command in and it will tell you if your ROM is okay or not. Otherwise, you'll need to get a ROM. Now, it's cool that he has included this, so that's pretty awesome. I'm not sure if that is going to be standard for everybody or what, but that's nice, because if not, you either need to find someone to get one of these from, or figure out how to do that yourself if you've got a way to burn a ROM. All right, so this right here is one of the things too. What is this? I think it's the DB19, right? That connector is not really made anymore, so this is 3D printed with some loose pins we'll have to put in there, but he's done that for us. That's pretty cool. I think the only other person that has had the DB19 would be like over here on the Floppy EMU, like I showed you, where he had not printed out. I think he commissioned, the fellow that does Floppy EMU commissioned and had a bunch of these made. Otherwise, I don't think they really exist anymore, but people have been 3D printing them. So that's what this is. This is a 3D printed DB19. All right, so here we've got the little SD card reader module. Let's see. Just kind of, generic little module there. These are the 20 pin box headers. Let's see. Yeah, that's what these are right here. And let's see, this is the Arduino Nano. It says pre-programmed, so I guess he's already put the the code on there, the sketch, so we don't have to do that ourselves. But that should be available, that code, should you want to try to do this on your own. And here's the headers, and this is a diode and a 10K resistor, I believe, and a little tactile switch right there. Let's see, and these are the 2 PCBs. So this should not be too terribly hard for us to do here. PCB there, PCB there. Let's go check out these instructions real quick. All right, first thing we're gonna do is this tactile switch that it says to do in the instructions. Let's get these things out of here. Go ahead and get these out of here too. Get this out of here. All right. I might put a little tiny bit of flux on here if I can get out a little tiny bit and not have too much. We'll see what happens. That is probably enough for every one of these pads. Now let's stick this guy on here. Let's just see if we can bug it around here. Jeez. All right. That's pretty good. Let's put this resistor and diode in. The resistor has no orientation, so that can just go in any which way. Just gonna bend that, stick it in here. See there? Now we'll stick the diode in. Now the diode does have an orientation, so see it's got this band. I'm gonna put this band to make it match where the band is in the silk screen there. All right. So that should be good. I think that's good for those. For eye protection, these things can fly off and get stuck in your eyes, which you do not want. Be careful. All right, so now it says we need to use this SD card reader part, but it says we need to straighten these pins out. So see, it's got these right angle pins. I'm just gonna see if we can use these pliers to straighten these out without making a mess of things. All right, I'll put too much force on them. And now this is going to go like it's going to be face down. See how these indicators line up with those? There we go. Let's see if we can get that down there. There we go. That looks pretty good. Let's see here. Anything here? Watch your eyes. Who knows where they're going? The instructions say use a little double-sided tape here, but I'm not using that. So that is at your discretion. Be easy with it. Okay, so now it's telling us to put the headers on the Arduino. All right, so let's solder these headers on here. We're gonna put this in here now. USB goes this way, USB, right? All right, let's get the iron hot again. So instead of using this cable, I'm going to use these headers to basically connect these two together directly. So I can just pop this right on the back of the Apple IIC. So these don't come with the kit. And he also says that you could use a socket for this if you wanted to. I did not do that, but that's another option for you. So if you have trouble with your Arduino, you don't have to desolder it to replace it. You could just swap it out. So something to consider if you build one of these. So I'm just going to break off 10 of these 2 times, right? And let's see here. Sometimes I'm just going to cut because when I try to break sometimes, they don't break that great. Woo. And again, watch your eyeballs. So that should go in there like that, see? And then I'll cut off another 10 here. See how that is? And I'll just use a little blue tack to hold that. Actually, yeah, I go through this way, then I'll solder them from that way maybe. Well, let's just see what happens here. Neat. Okay, so there we got that. And that should go into here like that. And now we'll put a little blue tack here to just kind of give us a little level deal here. Check how that looks. Yeah, that looks okay, I think. I'll solder these. All right, there's that. We trim these down. Let's trim these down. Watch your eyes. Here we go. All right, next we got to do this connector right here. I think we'll just use some pliers to insert the pins into this DB19 mount. Okay, it seems like you can 3D print it yourself, and if you do that, you may have to adjust these holes, but it sounds like they've already gotten these done on these for us. So I'm going to break this off. I'm going to grab it with these pliers and see if I can insert it. So here we go. Oh, don't do that. Okay, Jamie from the future here. So this is the part of this kit or project that gave me the hardest time. That was the first pin I messed up, and I messed up another pin in this process too. The big thing I'll stress to you that I didn't do myself is to be patient. Ideally, you want to find some micro size drill bits or very small normal drill bits that are just a little bigger than these holes are. And you just want to use those to take a little bit of material and to round up the hole a bit if it's not round. And that should be enough to give you a little bit of space you need to be able to get these pins in here without forcing them too hard. They should have a little resistance, obviously, but you shouldn't be bending them trying to get them in. So after I stop talking here, I'm going to fast forward it because I'm just going to be showing you all the wrong ways to do this and just force things. And it's just, I wouldn't do any of the things I'm doing at first here. Near the end, you'll see where I finally found a drill bit, and the bit that I do find is probably a smidge too big, but it worked out. But you'll also see where I had to end up using two header pins, long header pins, to take the place of two of these proper pins. And I was crossing my fingers that they would work okay and not cause a problem. But they are thinner, so there's a chance they could break off, so that's a risk I'm taking. But if you're patient and follow the directions better than I did, you shouldn't have this trouble with this part of the kit. You can see here, one of the first things I try is putting a little bit of a screw in there and backing it in and out of the holes to see if that would help. And that kind of helped, but it wasn't quite right. This is after I finally found the little drill bit and started using it to work around, and this worked much better. And now I would just hold it with the pliers and spin it around the different holes and work that through most of the holes that needed it. So after making those holes bigger and putting in the pins that I didn't break and got those kind of soldered to the board, this is when I started manipulating these longer header pins here and kind of squishing them down to make them fit into the socket. And I had to do this for 2 different locations, and then you'll see where I solder them in. And of course, when those are done, they sit a little proud, so I had to clip those off. But this is what it looked like when I was done and almost ready to try it out. Next, I went over to archive.org and downloaded the latest version of Total Replay. I referred to the GitHub documentation for this project to make sure I understood what the file name scheme was that this device expected. Basically, it looked like all I needed to do was change the name of the file I downloaded to part1.po like this. Then I just copied it to my SD card. All right, so I've got my SD card. I just put that file on, and I'm just going to pop it into here, and let's see if it works. So this is just going to go right here on the smart port, and we'll plug it on in. All right, moment of truth. Looks like it's working. See, it seems to work okay. Made reference to it already, but this is that command again. This peak command, basically on a 2C, any number other than 255 means you're good. Otherwise, you need to update your ROM. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I'm anxious to try some other things with it in the future. Hey, if you made it this far, thanks for watching. I hope to see you again next time. Take care. Bye-bye.